All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about something really powerful, a concept that shapes pretty much every decision we make, a lot of the time without us even realizing it. We're talking about this quiet pattern, this difference between what we think we want and what we actually need.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? I mean, think about that for a second. An invisible script that's just running in the background of our lives, pulling the strings on our careers, our relationships, our biggest choices. Our whole goal here is to finally make that script visible.
So what is this pattern? Well, it's this constant tug-of-war between our wants and our needs. And listen, this isn't just some emotional thing or an intellectual idea. This is deeply psychological. And getting this right, it can save you from a world of burnout, confusion, and years of making choices that just aren't aligned with who you are.
Now, this seems so simple, right? So obvious. But this is the absolute core of it all. These two forces are constantly pulling us in very different directions, and we get them mixed up all the time. And that's where all the trouble begins. So let's really break them down.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of these two massive forces. And we'll start with the one we all know probably a little too well, the things that are wanted.
When you want something, you feel it. It's not subtle. It's this experience that's totally driven by intense emotion. You know, it's that spark, that pull, that thing that just grabs your attention and will not let go.
And what's so interesting here is just the raw energy of these words. Excitement, fascination, intensity. The things we want feel intoxicatingly alive. And look, they can be amazing. They energize you, they inspire you. But that intensity, it isn't always stable, and it for sure isn't always good for you in the long run.
So at its core, want is all about that immediate attraction. It's a gut-level emotional reaction. The question it asks has nothing to do with logic or what's good for you tomorrow. It's just about that magnetic pull you feel right here, right now.
Now let's flip to the other side of the coin, the things that we need. This is a much, much quieter force. Needed things are the building blocks, the foundational elements that don't just give you a rush, they genuinely nourish you. They support the person you're actually trying to become.
Just look at this list: safety, growth, honesty, steadiness. I mean, these qualities might not have the same fireworks as want, but man, this is the bedrock of a healthy, sustainable life. This is the stuff that protects your soul, while want just excites your heart. And this question, this just nails the difference, doesn't it? It completely shifts the focus from, am I drawn to this, to something much deeper. It asks you to think about your future self. It's a question of wisdom, not just a question of impulse. And here you have it, side by side. You've got the intoxicating, emotional fire of want on one side, and on the other, the foundational, nourishing support of need. The problem is so many of us spend our entire lives leaning way too far to one side, which leads us into two very, very common traps. Okay, so knowing the difference is one thing, but actually applying it in your life, that is a whole other story. Let's look at the two main ways we get this totally wrong and end up making some really painful choices.
Oh yeah, this is the classic. We've all seen it, maybe we've even lived it. It's when we chase that intense desire. You know, the exciting but totally unstable partner, or the flashy career that just completely burns us out. We want it so bad that we literally convince ourselves we need it. But choosing based on intensity alone, while ignoring stability and kindness and real support, that almost always leads to a world of hurt.
But you know what? There's an opposite trap too. This is where we overcorrect. We decide to choose only what's practical, what's stable, what's safe. We basically shut down all our desires to avoid any risk, and we end up in a life that might feel secure, but it's completely lifeless. A life can collapse from too much want, but it can also just decay from too little.
So here's the thing, and this is so important. The goal is not to get rid of wanting. Desire is an incredible teacher. It shows you where your heart is, where you feel alive. The real path to wisdom is about integrating both of these forces, letting your wants be your guide, while your needs act as your guardrails.
This right here, this is like the first superpower you unlock on the path to maturity. It's the ability to feel a really strong desire, to acknowledge it, to say, wow, I really want that, but to not be a slave to it. You can see it, you can name it, and then you can choose whether or not to act, because you understand it's a preference, not a life or death requirement.
And then there's the next level of wisdom, which is every bit as important. This is when you can choose something that is genuinely good for you, something nourishing and supportive, even if it doesn't come with that big emotional spark.
It's choosing the gym when you feel like staying on the couch, or choosing the kind, steady partner over the exciting but chaotic one.
And this is the sweet spot. This is the jackpot. These are the absolute rarest and richest experiences in life, when the thing you are passionately drawn to is also the thing that deeply supports and nourishes you. When your heart's excitement and your soul's wisdom are in perfect sync. I mean, that's the goal, right?
So how do we actually get there? How do we practice this in our day-to-day lives? Well, there's a beautifully simple, really practical tool we can all use.
Seriously, that's it? Whenever you're facing a choice, doesn't matter if it's big or small, about work, love, or just life, just pause for a second and ask yourself these 3 questions. Is this pull coming from a place of want, a place of need, or is it that incredible, rare combination of both? This super simple practice can bring a ton of clarity. Because ultimately, this isn't about denying yourself pleasure or forcing yourself into some boring practical box. It's about building a life that has room for both, a life that feels exciting and feels supportive, a life built with both passion and wisdom. So we'll leave you with this to really think about. Take a good, honest look at your own life, at the choices you make. What is it that pulls you versus what is it that truly sustains you? Because figuring out that distinction, that's the very first step toward building a life that finally does both.